Hey guys, I'm Blessed Dad here with a new video. This time, it's The Walking Dead, issue 103. So this is just a quick review slash overview of the issue. So I'll just be going over what happened and my thoughts on it. But before I go any further, I just want to say that this review does contain spoilers. So if you haven't read this issue yet, I recommend that you go watch it, read it, come back, and we can share our thoughts on it. So let's start off right where we left off in issue 102. Rick let Negan's prisoner go that he had captive. He let him go, and he actually said for Jesus to go follow him and figure out everything that's going on with Negan's group. So this issue starts off with Jesus, and it actually looks so sick. Jesus is actually running around and he's punching and kicking these zombies in such a movie-like fashion. And this is one part in comic books that really captivates me, because when you're reading a comic book and you really get lost in it and it almost feels like a movie, like you don't even realize you're reading a comic book anymore, that's when I think that a comic book becomes really great. You really get caught up in the world, and it's just like you're actually in it. So that's really where I think where a comic book goes beyond and over what a comic book is capable of, and that's when it's amazing. And that's what this comic book did with me in the beginning. I see Jesus running around kicking zombies, and I really just get engulfed by this world. So really cool, like, little fight scene with the zombies here. I like how Jesus doesn't actually kill them. He just like kicks them and like runs around them. But he's watching over Negan's guy right here, and he's on top of a bridge, and he actually sees him, and a zombie comes right after him. Like, he's looking down at Negan's like guy from like on top of a bridge, right? So a zombie comes from behind him and actually he's about to grab him, so he flips him over. Jesus flips the zombie over and actually goes falling off the bridge. So Negan's guy looks back and he's just like, huh? And you see Jesus laying down on the bridge so he doesn't see him at all. And again, that's almost exactly like a movie to me. I feel like I'm in a movie, like I said. At one part, Negan's guy, this is the guy with the burnt face, so his eyelids are actually gone, and he's actually putting eye drops in his eye, and it's kind of just going straight down his face, off his cheek and everything, because he has no eyelids. I found that kind of funny, though, because in Batman issue 13, The Joker's Return, Joker kind of does the same thing. He explains that because Joker's face is now, his skin's all cut off, and he explains, like, because he has no eyelids too, he explains that, yeah, only when I put the eye drops in, it's painful and they drip down. I don't know if that's just, I don't know where they got this from, but it seems very similar, so I found that kind of weird. But then we go back to Rick's community, whatever, and he's talking to Andrea, and Andrea's really upset because she feels like you're just giving in to Negan, like you're not even trying anymore, and she's threatening to move out from Rick. But then Rick reveals his true plan, which we don't have the full plan, but he basically says what he's gonna do. He basically just like tells Andrea that my plan is to let Negan think that he's in control, to think that he's scared, but he's really not, and he's actually planning something. What he's planning, though, we don't know. But then, of course, Andrew's like, oh, that's good, and she stays with him, and yeah. In a funny kind of way, though, he goes and sees Carl. He goes, talks to him, and Carl just like glances over and gives him like a death stare, and like in the car, it just looks so weird. It's like Carl giving him this death stare with one eye because he still has the patch. But that's, I don't know, it just seemed really weird to me, kind of in a funny way almost. But he doesn't tell Carl actually that he's pretty much faking with Negan. He actually doesn't tell him, which kind of almost backfires later on, but we'll get to that. But he's just basically angry at him. Then right after that, it cuts right to Negan, and he actually comes to Rick's community, which is kind of weird because you'd think that he wouldn't go right away. Like, you think that he'd probably send his people to get the food and stuff, but he doesn't, which is kind of weird. And he gets Lucille, his barbed wire bat that he killed Glenn with, if you haven't read issue 100, and he bangs on the gates and says, little pig, let me in. And Negan is just so, like, rude in a way, and just so, he's such a hateful character. Like, you love to hate Negan, and it's just the way he acts. Like, every sentence has to have the F word with him. Like, he's just so disrespectful. Like, again, you just have to love to hate him. But do I hate him more than the governor? Well, in a way, I hate the governor more than Negan, but I kind of hate Negan more than the governor in another way entirely, if you understand what I'm saying. They both have their points where they're like you really hate them, but Negan is in a way is like he's more funny, so you kind of like him a little more, but then again he's really still a jerk, so you still gotta put that in. But anyway, you see Negan like take out some zombies with Lucille, and you can see the brute strength that he has. He like headshots 2 zombies, and it just like splatters everywhere. Like you can really see that he's powerful. I think they really portray that. Anyway, so Rick lets him in because he doesn't want to do anything, and again, he wants to seem like he's scared. He lets Negan in, and he basically gives him a tour of the place because now he gets half of all their supplies and everything. And before they start this little trip, Negan goes to Rick and he says, "Here, can you hold Lucille for a while?" So Rick has to hold the barbed wire bat that killed Glenn, and you can see it in his face in the pages of this comic, the rage that he's holding in, because he just wants to kill Negan so bad right now because he's making fun of him. He's straight just dissing him, making him hold his bat. Like it's just such a great moment, but in a bad way, of course. And then this is the part where Carl kind of backfires on Rick because Rick didn't tell him his plan. But Carl goes up to Negan like an idiot and basically tells him, "Get out of here before we show you how dangerous we really are." And this could have backfired on Rick so bad. Negan could have just killed Carl right there. Knowing Negan, you know, he's so unpredictable, he's so like heartless, he could have just killed him right there, but he kind of just takes it as a joke. I think he's amused by Carl, really, and he kind of just like waves him off and he goes away. So at this point, Negan's taking like a bunch of their supplies, and in the picture actually they're taking like 10 mattresses. I guess he likes mattresses, I don't know. But then something happens. Denise in Rick's group starts screaming, and she points a gun at one of Negan's men, and she's like arguing with him because, you know, of course he has to take half of everything. So he took half of the medicine, but he's only taking like the morphine and stuff like that. And you know that it's just for them to get high, but they need that. Rick's group needs that because if something happens again, like what happened to Carl where he got shot, they need the morphine to do like the surgery and everything. So they're all upset because they took all of it, and she's upset that oh, how come you didn't take half the aspirin? And like Negan's like, wait, we still took half, just all of this, none of that. So Denise is really angry, and she's just about to shoot Negan's guy. Rick comes up though, kind of subdues her, and just says, no, just let Negan go. So that was kind of bad. And then before Negan leaves, he takes his bat back, and he he utters this very rude thing to Rick that if I say, I'll probably get flagged on YouTube, so you can see it for yourself. But yeah, so this issue is basically Negan just making fun of Rick. And let's just talk about the cover. You've seen it already, I've put it in this video. But it's Negan holding up a bat about to smash Rick in the head, and Rick's kneeling down. And, you know, a lot of covers nowadays with Marvel and DC, they really, most of the time, have nothing to do with what's inside. It's usually a fight scene that never happens. This, though, issue is really symbolic, and although that never happens, Negan never is about to kill Rick, but in a way it does happen because Negan is really in control this whole issue, and that's what this issue is about. There's no real fighting, there's no real anything, really. It's just a quarrel between Rick and Negan, so that's what this issue is all about, really. And I think it was great overall, even though there wasn't a lot of action, a lot of anything. Just those moments between Rick and Negan just really stand out and really make this issue really great. So thanks guys for listening to this little video here. Tell me what you think about this issue in the comments below. And just before I leave, guys, I just want to let you know that I actually have a podcast I do with 2 other really cool guys. It's called the Lost Bros Podcast. It's on Podomatic and iTunes. Go check that out, guys. It's about movies, TV shows, video games, action figures, Transformers, Marvel, DC Comics, everything. So it covers everything, guys. Pretty sure you'll really like it if you're into The Walking Dead.